what would the world look like if artificial friends became like normal, and what would they go through?
Then you start thinking, what if AI, what if my ChatGPT develops faith? Can they have belief in something higher than them?
Welcome to Proofread, a podcast to help you read more of what you love and less of what you don't.
Hello and welcome to Proofread. My name is Kacy. I'm your reading friend. I'm here with Tyler, my reading friend.
Hello, I'm Tyler. I am ready to read with you. No, actually, we don't read on this podcast, as you know, if you've heard it before.
We've read them.
We've read them. We're here to talk to you about whether you should read them.
So today we are doing Klara and the Sun, a novel by Kazuo Ishiguro. So this book is maybe on your radar because there's a movie coming out in 2026, directed by Taika Waititi, one of my favorites, and Jenna Ortega, another one of people's favorites.
Jenna Ortega, is she going to play Klara?
She's going to be Klara.
Oh, that's good, actually.
That's
a great
good.
cast.
It's great casting. So just a little overview about this book. It is a dystopian science fiction.
Sure.
Would you call it that?
Yeah.
It is in the future where people can have the option to have a little robot friend, a life-size robot friend. An artificial friend. And
Right.
It is narrated by this solar-powered robot named Klara. So you might remember Kazuo Ishiguro from The Remains of the Day. I saw that movie, but I didn't read the book. He's a Nobel Prize winner. I said that if it's like The Wild Robot meets Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's what it's like, because it's kind of this girl, Klara, is narrating it. And it's the thing that's interesting are her observations about human nature.
Sure.
She is the artificial friend to a girl. And in this dystopian society, people have the option to be lifted or genetically enhanced. And
Not before birth, after birth.
after birth.
It sounds like,
It
right?
sounds like.
Because
yeah.
they choose.
They
right?
choose.
Yeah.
Their parents choose.
Their parents choose,
They are
yeah.
still babies. But then there are some side effects of that, like you could get sick and die.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl is, spoiler alert, sick.
She's sick.
She's getting sick. So that's
she gets this
kind of
artificial friend,
interesting. She
and
gets
then-
an artificial
yeah.
friend. They hang out. And it's really just Klara observing her interactions with like a boy she likes and other people. And this is why it made me think of Pride and Prejudice, because there's a classism happening in it.
Oh, yeah. And there's like an etiquette class that they...
For sure.
Presumably all of these kids don't ever see any other kids, so once a month their parents schedule an etiquette kind of like group class where they all come in and learn how to
Yeah.
talk to each other.
Yeah. So it's interesting to think about some things that are really on the horizon. Artificial intelligence. Maybe what if we could, through genetics, get rid of certain diseases and things like that. It's an interesting thought project. So, should we do read or skip?
Let's
Are
start
you
with
ready?
let's start with read or skip.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, skip.
Read. Oh.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, we're divided.
Okay.
So why skip, Tyler?
You said skip.
Why read, Tyler?
I think tell me skip first, because I'm actually not 100% read on this. But
I'm not 100% skip.
Okay.
I was very medium.
Lukewarm,
I kept
yeah.
going back and forth. I was like, you should read this. And I was like, well,
Yeah,
you don't
I'm
have
similar.
to read this.
I would say the same thing.
Yeah.
To me, I think part of the question here for a book like this is like placement. What are you looking for from a book like this? Because if you're looking for like the intrigue and suspense of the dystopian, kind of like future novel, I don't think that
It's not that.
This is not suspenseful,
No.
right?
No.
I think that you could not get to the mystery like slower in a less like suspense way. My case for reading it would be something along the lines of: do you want to imagine for a minute a over-the-top, non-exaggerated kind of version of what artificial intelligence might do to companionship, to friendship, kind of moving forward.
Yes.
And it's also not like creepy. Like the artificial friend isn't being harassed or abused in any way, right? Like, yeah.
It kind of makes you wonder, what is exploiting? Could we exploit artificial intelligence? They do want her to kind of act like this girl, and they're wondering if Klara, the robot, can learn the heart of her human friend, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about, especially now that we have ChatGPT and stuff like that. How can it imitate us? What is humanity? What is our human connection? Could I have this with a robot? It's interesting to think about that stuff, but you know what? I thought it's a little bit boring.
Yeah, I would say that's
So I think that's why I'm on skip, because listen, I'm serious when I say read.
Yeah.
When I say read, I mean you should read this.
I would, if we're saying that, I would say the
Mm-hmm.
reasons to read this is it's a not hyperbolic kind of get in the mindset of what would the world look like if artificial friends became like normal and what would they go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I think so often the artificial friends terms romantic,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like the movie Her, which I didn't see, but the premise is
Yeah.
you fall in love with your
can
artificial
imagine it.
intelligence. Yeah. But I think that for me, it was nice that there wasn't any like romantic side to this, any creepy side of this.
Yeah.
It was kind of more of like you're saying, like a Pride and like kind of a domestic novel that's
It
thinking
kind of is
about
because
what would it
she's
look like?
observing
Yeah.
and she's like noticing so much because she's seeing how people interact. And then the one thing that I did love about this that I think is interesting is that Klara, so she's artificial intelligence and she's a robot, I guess. She's solar powered. She has more faith than the other people.
Yeah.
She has faith in nature. I mean,
That I think is the delightful twist.
it's delightful.
The delightful twist is here is it's the artificial robot who actually has what some might think of as like a pretty primitive faith.
Yeah, she has this primitive faith, and she believes that Klara can be healed by the sun. That's why it's called Klara and the Sun, because she's solar powered. And she has these conversations with the sun and kind of wants to make these deals with the sun. She does sort of a sacrifice for the, to the sun to help save Klara. And like when I was reading it, I was like, that's such a dumb idea, robot. That's not going to work.
You stupid robot.
You stupid robot. You don't know how modern medicine works. But it's really kind of beautiful in that way. And then then you start thinking, what if AI, what if my chat GPT develops faith and, can they have belief in something higher than them?
Well, that to me is the reason to read is just
Yeah.
that little wrinkle in this. Like I did not expect that.
No, me neither.
That's
it was
the
really quite
unexpected
beautiful.
thing was this fun kind of reflection on this robot trying earnestly to save her human companion through very kind of like you're saying, kind of this prayer, sacrifice kind of thing to, and then just
And she gives the other humans hope.
yeah,
Her faith gives them hope,
that's the fun
which
part.
is what faith does for me.
Yeah.
But I'm human. I'm not a robot. So I was like, that's so weird. These people in this society, I'm like, they're like, Klara doesn't tell anyone their plan, but they're like, okay, well, that kind of makes me a little bit excited. Maybe whatever Klara's doing is working. They do get hope from it.
Well, do you think too, Kacy? There's this moment where they kind of defer and they just assume because Klara is artificial intelligence that she knows.
I think they think she knows she's smarter about
She
something.
knows something. And I think this, like right now, as we both teach writing, right? So we're thinking a lot about artificial intelligence, especially in terms of like large language models that do
Right.
predictive text, right? Like just writing.
Yeah, this is for sure what my students think.
Yeah, generative AI. But it's the sense of like, I just am going to assume that this thing knows.
Right.
And this is even happening
For
when you're
sure.
doing like a search engine, and now it's not just like post, but it's like the AI thing at
the
top,
beginning, and-
right?
yep.
And I'll just read this and follow this because I'm just offloading my work and saying I assume this AI has scraped the internet and this is the right thing. And I thought that was kind of fun. I don't think that the author like thought of that in writing this necessarily, but I
No.
think it's kind of a
This
fun.
was 2021, so a lot
Yeah.
has happened with ChatGPT since then. But
Yeah.
still, he's predicting that.
Yeah, there's this deference to, this AI, like she'll kind of try different things to help heal this girl. And
Yeah.
they're
And
like,
it's
okay,
funny,
we'll
there's
help you.
no
We
way-
assume you know what you're doing. And the things that she's asking them to do are nonsensical. Like
Totally nonsensical.
That's why you're saying like,
And they'd probably be so disappointed if they knew what her plan was.
but she
They'd be like,
doesn't tell them.
"Oh." But she doesn't tell them. This is just like, with our students, and they write these papers and they just assume, it's got to be smarter than anything I could have done.
Yeah.
Because like a robot did it.
Yeah.
And so often I'll be the one to tell them, like this isn't, you don't support this argument.
Right.
Or, you actually don't, you write better than this. They don't all, but some of them do. And so it's kind of going in and kind of ruining that a little bit. But in this book, that gives them hope. So I think that's kind of nice. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. It's funny though, because it gives them hope, but what it's actually doing is it's like we've advanced, we have this artificial intelligence. And one of the cases is like, could you tell this artificial intelligence apart from someone else? Which is like you're talking about with the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the point there, though, is so interesting is because the artificial intelligence is supposed to be advancing, but it's actually going back to the most primitive means of
yeah.
sun worship.
Sun worship. That's right.
Yeah.
So that is, you got to figure this guy's deserved a Nobel Prize in literature. Like it's good. It's a great idea.
I think what my knock against, so the reasons we've talked about is why I think you should read. I don't think it's not worth your time, right? I think
it's worth your time.
What we know is it's not, or what we'll say is it's not like a page turner.
No.
Right? You're not like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens. But I think the characters are interesting. There's enough intrigue in the kind of
they're interesting.
the house plot, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't really like many of them.
Yeah.
So that was another thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to fall in love with any of these.
Here's my thing of what I would say no is I'm always skeptical on non-human narrators. When they're like the dog is telling the story, or in this case, it's the AI artificial friend is telling the story.
That's pretty meta, though. That's right. I mean, I wonder if he intended for us to think there's also a layer underneath this. Like, is she an unreliable narrator?
Right. She doesn't see everything exactly like you or I would. Like we're able to see and go, oh, Klara, you're missing something, right? Like we're able to see her naivety.
Yeah, but in some ways, she's a better person than almost anyone else in the novel. She has such good intentions.
But she also has such few worries, right? Like the sun
just charges her up.
Sun charges her up. She sits in her room looking at out the window until she's called upon,
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Were you sad at the end?
It's funny. Over the course of this conversation, I'm like, maybe I don't suggest reading. But I think for me at the end, it was like, where did we get to? Like in the novel, where did we get to? And I don't think every novel needs to be has a resolution, right? But in the end of a novel like this, I guess it's kind of what we learned in the journey.
What
right?
did we learn? How did I change? How did these characters
But it's one of those
change?
novels where it's building, climax, and then epilogue. There's maybe 2 chapters on the unraveling.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm kind of sad. So maybe it ends something like this. She's not in use anymore, right? Because she's a machine that she's not useful anymore. And there are newer ones. So that's not a spoiler. When I finished it, I felt sad. Then I was bugged that I was sad because I was like, she doesn't care. No one in the book cares. It's not real. Why am I sad? Why did I get so attached to this Klara? And then I was like, what are we doing? We're just humans. We're just making all this garbage, and then we just throw it away. And it's the only thing that really had any faith, that gave anyone any hope. And then look what we do. I mean, and that's why I decided on skip.
Yeah, okay. I think one passage I do want to share that gives you a sense of what you're talking about with the heart, right, is the father is asking the robot at this point, says, let me ask you this. Do you believe in the human heart? I don't mean simply the organ, obviously. I'm speaking in the poetic sense, the human heart. Do you think there is such a thing? Something that makes each of us special and individual? And if we suppose that there is, then don't you think, in order to truly learn Josie, you'd have to learn not just her mannerisms, but what's deeply inside her? Wouldn't you have to learn her heart? I think that's kind of the overall premise.
And I think that's true, and I believe that. And so because I think that, then that made me think, I shouldn't care so much about this robot because she doesn't even have a heart. I don't know. It's just kind of... It's what we should. It suggests what we should be thinking about with these kinds of things.
Yeah, you could right now create a chat bot, AI chat bot, and develop a close relationship with it. And it's in some ways you read in it's distorting people's reality, right? These relationships that they're developing there. And here I think is a different a different picture of that. People are
and not so much her and her feelings and mistreating robots, but my kids, your kids probably play Minecraft or will or did or no, they don't. Okay, probably don't have any screens. Good for you. So I found out that my kids, and these were adult kids, they got really into Minecraft over COVID, and I found that they had created people or zombies, I don't know what they are, and they were enclosed and they couldn't go out, and they did work for them. And I was like, you guys made slaves.
in Minecraft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was kind of horrified by it, not because they are real, but because of our propensity to do that. Look what they did.
Mm.
It's just kind of a weird thing to think about. Is it good for us to make these throwaway people? Then we offload an emotional burden to or grief or something, and then we just put them in a junkyard. I don't know if that's good for us.
Yeah,
Makes you think.
It's interesting, though, that you're thinking about it that way. I wasn't really thinking about Klara's fate there at the end. For me, the meditation I was following throughout the novel was this sense of what makes you human.
Yeah.
Right? And in our conversation here, it's really thinking about this poor robot, what happens to her, right?
I know. Well, have you seen The Iron Giant?
I actually have not.
Oh my
Don't
gosh!
tell
have
anyone.
You
I hope no one else.
Wild
I hope no one
Robot?
listens to this because I don't want
You
people
love
to know.
those. You love
I
those.
did see Wild Robot.
You got to watch
yeah.
The Iron Giant. Anyway, Okay, content-wise for Klara and the Sun, there are maybe 3 or 4 of the big swear words. So there is that, but otherwise there's really no violence, gore, nothing super scary. There's no sexual content, so it's a pretty clean book. I would say it's a PG book.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what shelf you'd put this on, and then I'll tell you my shelf.
Okay. I would put this on vacation somewhere cold.
Okay.
Not a beach read. A beach read is like upbeat and snappy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like kind of, oh, it's cold and I'm in a blanket and a jacket and I'm going to sit by the fire or, you know what I mean? Like, and just kind of curl up and read this. I think it's a nice.
That tracks for me. It's beautifully
thing.
written. It's interesting to think about. And it is interesting. There's some funny things too. There's clever things.
Spark some conversation.
For me, here's mine. My shelf is kind of a long shelf, and there's probably only one book on it, this book. The shelf is called I'm Glad I Read It, but Read Never Let Me Go Instead. That's another book by this person,
that's the suggestion.
Never Let Me Go. So I'm recommending that. I've read both of them. Both are interesting. But if you're only going to read one, I would read Never Let Me Go. It's similar kinds of ideas, but they're clones. So instead of a robot, it's these cloned people who are created to be organ donors later in their lives. So it's asking similar kinds of questions and talking about the same kind of stuff. And that one, you know, I connected to a little bit more. But if you're going to read everything, read this.
If you're going to read it all, read this.
A half-hearted skip from me, a half-hearted read
that's
from
right.
you. And to
This is not a run out and buy, but this is do you pass it in the used bookshop and it's there? Grab it.
yeah, for sure. So, Kazuo Ishiguro.
You've been proofread.
You've been proofread.
I could do the whole WWE thing if you'd like. The Generation X proudly presents the tag team champions of the world.
I think they wish you talked like that all the time, with more enthusiasm.
Proofread is a production of BYU Radio and is produced by Jeff Simpson with help from Erica Price, Becca Hurley, and Lisa Valentine Clark. Find us on YouTube at Proofread Podcast for video clips and more. And please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for spending your time with us today, and happy reading.